Alright, Misaki here. Reading Dizzy Hearts. This is like the second time recording this, and I might get sidetracked by reading, so I might read longer than 30 minutes. So let's go. Read longer than 10 minutes. Okay, let's see if I can do better. Under Great Pekka is a small human city in the country of Asard. Long ago, our ancestors carved home with their bare hands. They left the heritage in chiseled into the walls of under Great Pekka. For us, it's sacred, and read this wall as these walls you can see our entire record history. During the days of people, Asard was found a great city. Like under Pekka, we explored every inch of the known world. But as time grew, the history of the people grew taller. We no longer cared. We no longer cared about the living of our homes anymore. We used to travel great distances, but we only trade within borders. It was every human's duty in the coming age ceremony to leave under Great Pekka and return with something never before seen, expanding our knowledge of the outside world. But people cared more about politics and stayed inside the mountain. It no longer matters what anyone is doing. The walls speak of the rift on the edge of Asard territory. It was impossible range of mountains that extended as far as the eye can see, and as long as the legs can walk. It was as tall as its green, with lust of light. Only the traitor have crossed the rift and came back alive. It's a purest place. There was a group of caravans gathering over there and shared trades from different parts of the world. I don't think he liked me poking around and sitting his business. The elders say there's nothing but desert out there. An endless desert and a burning sun. And that all exists. Staying under the protective watch of Great Pekka, Great Pekka will keep us safe. Dad didn't know, but I decided I was going to do last night. He accidentally mentioned Uncle Sidney was coming back through under Great Pekka. In his on the way eastward. But I've always been a curious child, and even really listening to my father's warnings, I might have gotten at him a bit drunk before finally telling him where Sydney was going. Dad was always been dead set on taking over the fish, on me taking over the fish hatchery, but this meeting was the opportunity I couldn't pass up. How did you know? Uncle Sydney wasn't really my uncle, but he and my father grew up together. He was close enough to be considered family, and he was the only man that from our city who explored. It was easy. A little mushroom wine. My dad turned it to a big soft Dimerel. Whatever. To be honest, it was after a long discussion we had over hatchery. It was my coming of age, and was planning to take full control of it. Breeding fish, hatching fish, wasn't a glorious life. It was important for a city, so I knew he wouldn't take my news well. He wouldn't be happy with you leaving like this. He always said you were going to take over the hatchery. Sydney paced back and forth in front of me, looked more worried about what awaits him. He could ever come back to town. My dad was a big softie, but a bit overprotective. I know he wants me to do, but I've already decided where I'm going to go. I was registered by decision with the elders. I was going to go through the rift and return with what I found. This was the first time anyone from Great Paco had journeyed such a distance. But I never wanted the hatchery that what my dad wanted. You've always getting in way over your head, doing things you shouldn't. Sydney showed a bit of worry, but I think he knew that I was always the type that clung to the ceiling rather than the floor. Besides, no one knows what over there. Not anyone from here anyway. So I want you to take me through the rift. You know I can't do that. My caravan doesn't even go that far. But you're getting ready to leave, right? There are other traders who go that far. Sydney cracked a bit. He knew he was fighting a losing battle. I knew from the stories I'd heard as a little girl that The Eastern trade knew the cross of the rift, and made it through alive. These traders speak about what exists beyond the rift is a dark, frozen nothingness, and cold white sand falls from the sky. They called it the end of the world. Your father's going to skin me if I run off with his precious little girl. Dad already knows I'm going. If you can take me that far, I can ride another caravan going through the rift. Actually, I kinda lied, but my dad definitely would find out. It was possibly to change my mind once. It wasn't possible to change my mind once I said it on something. I wanted to do this, and I was going to. You ain't got nothing a trader could want. Oh, hee hee. I reached in my pocket and pulled out a leather envelope, like a final blow to break down his wall. I handed it to Sydney. What? This is a golden mushroom ticket. Look this. You can't pass up a great deal like this, can you? A little time worth of fishing and hatchery in the city. How'd you? It's yours in exchange for the trip to the merchant meet, and you can have plenty of the stuff, and you can have plenty of that will get me the supplies I need. I grinned. There were a few tickets in this circulation, and they were a limited promotion item in the Great Fish Off a few years prior. I knew I never really told anyone before, but I lied about my age and identity to attend. Why do you always have to be so reckless? Ever since you were little. You never listen. I'ma be the one who's going to catch a little for you. Don't worry. By the time you came back through town, the elders would have spoken to my dad. You just have to get me there. The elders understood that I was the one who had the right to choose what I had to do, even if they didn't agree. I'd at least succeeded to proving the stories were true. I'd be able to bring back proof of what is beyond the rift. My dad will be proud of me when I return. I know he will. Sit. Have it your way, but you're gonna get me killed. Let's see how much time I want to do that. Okay. The caravan's meet wasn't that far from home. only few mountains away, but by the time we got there, the grounds were packed with wagons linked like snakes. They circled a meeting post and interacting with giant stone slabs around the waterhole. Yeah, waterhole. Like any place, it was a vast, unchanging desert. Even the winds, never blew strong enough to move the dungs in the part of the country. In the distance, the rift could be, with its towering peak and vast inky black beyond. Alright. Nothing ever changed there, and no one got to see beyond the rolling seas of the sand and empty skies. There called this trade post its place besides Great Paca. Its place beside Paca. It was a shame. It was an unashamed and unimaginably straightforward kind of name, like every other place in the country. It was here Sydney traded with the other merchants before he moved off to the next city. The timing couldn't be more perfect. Look, I might have gone a bit too easy on you because you're your dad's kid. You know, and all. But if he knew you was trading and I took you here, Sidney rubbed the back of his head. It looked like he wasn't going to win this one, and his bald spot got even balder as he grew more and more worried. I didn't know if he was worried more about my safety or just his safety when he got back to the city. It looked like he was going to trade heavy to win back his pride. Don't worry. As far as we both know, I snuck my way in your wagon. That could possibly save Sydney's neck when the upset of my father back at home, and it was kind of sad how believable that was, given the other things that I did as a child. Yeah. Make sure you get a proper ride. These people, they are lowlifes. They'll leave you alone knowing you come here with me. They'll at least be fair. But if you run into trouble, you can call me. You can come to me, get me. Sorry. Sydney seemed most ready to tear up but he pretended there was sand in his eyes, as everyone thought Dad and Sydney were brothers. He was like an uncle to me. I think he was trying to not show his worry, but knew he couldn't really do anything about it. He also gave me supplies and something great, some goods. I'm sorry. It was a bit more than what he should have given me for the ticket, but I was sure it was. I could have make sure I make my way back. I could make my way back if I needed to, but regardless, I was determined to see. I looked around, then glanced at his wagon. He brushed his head over the canvases a few times to make sure it was tight enough. It was even like he was trying to think. He was the kind of person that knew how to say goodbye, and often called people who could. He wasn't the kind of person that knew how to say goodbye, and often called people who could express themselves better word talkers. He walked into the front of the wagon and gave his diorama a firm slap on the bottom. The beast walked and rattled as it moved with Sydney's pace, pulling the wagon along as he joined the remainder of the traders in the middle of nothing. After we left the trade post, Sydney reminded me to bundle up. The traders around this part of the country spoke about the cold sands that had chilled you right to the bone. I was truly grateful for him looking after me, though I thought part of it might have been his fear of and concern of himself. I had never gone this far before. I don't know anyone from Underpacker had. I managed to secure a caravan with the trade goods I got from Sydney. I was owned by a fairly odd fellow and knew he wasn't human. On the outskirts of Asworth, brought people of all races together, drawn by common purpose to obtain wealth. This fellow was no different. Most of the time, I barely understood what he could understand what he was saying. He spoke about icy sands like Sydney did. He told me the city of trade at the edge of the world. I wasn't sure what I was going to do when I got there. He was scheduled to come back through the rift until this year from now. But I was going to be able to meet up with him when he come back. One of the things I packed with me was one light shroom from home. The elders say the sun changed size in the sky, that it was a mind of his own, but these mushrooms are friends with the sun, and they change colors as the sun changes. We colonized them for generations, culturated them for generations, and even the streets of Underpacker illuminated by them. During the crop season, you could watch them change colors before your very eyes, long as our ancestors created our yearly calendar around them, and we've used them to plant crops for generations. With this, I'd be able to keep track of how long I had been gone and keep up with divers when he returned. Driver, 3 months has passed. Insert. God dang it. Oh, okay. I'ma have to say I'ma stop here. If y'all want to see more, leave a like and subscribe, and I'll put the link for the website of this game in the description. And Emo Misaki out.